Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is fighting back. President Trump is the antithesis of Bernie Sanders, which is why I became a Trump supporter. When people ask, well, why did H.A. Goodman become a Trump supporter? Well, it's kind of like, I guess I'll give the example, it's not a football analogy, it's actually a football discussion. Took me a long time, even though I didn't want to believe it. Took me a long time to realize that Tom Brady was the greatest quarterback of all time. I didn't want to believe that. For me, Joe Montana and Dan Marino were the best quarterbacks of all time. Then I realized, look, the guy has won, more Super Bowls than anyone else in NFL history. Brady has, 6 Super Bowls? 6. Brady has won a whopping 6 championship rings and 9 total Super Bowl appearances, the most of any player in history. So I actually didn't want to admit that or believe that. I've had enough of the Patriots, to tell you the truth. I actually have had enough of the Patriots years ago. So I didn't want to believe that he was the best quarterback of all time. I'm old school in everything. In everything. For me, I think for most people, Michael Jordan is the great... Well, Michael Jordan is at least better than LeBron. Tom Brady took me a long time to realize that, or to admit, to come to terms with the fact that he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I like Dan Marino. That's my favorite quarterback, personally. And Joe Montana, who I thought was the greatest of all time for, most of my life. Recently, I had to admit that I had to come to terms with the fact that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. 6 championship rings, 9 total Super Bowl appearances. Oh my goodness, I'm tired of the Patriots. I'm so tired of them. But the point is, when I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, I thought that he was a fighter. I thought that he was... The Huffington Post called me the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet. The Washington Post called me the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters. I was like a one-man public relations machine for Bernie Sanders. Of course, the pundits on the left and probably Bernie's campaign and Bernie Sanders himself probably don't know who the heck I am. But I convinced myself, or maybe I thought in the beginning, he was a fighter. I thought that Bernie was like this fighter and he was going to, he's going to fight the 1%. Then I realized very quickly that he was going to support Deborah Wasserman Schultz, and if you say one derogatory word about Deborah Wasserman Schultz, you'll get a knuckle sandwich from me. And so I quickly realized, after Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, and Nico House waged the DNC fraud lawsuit, I quickly realized that, well, you know what? Bernie Sanders was spewing and fomenting the same nonsense that said that Russia interfered in the election to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated because they infiltrated the DNC and they shared campaign emails that showed that Bernie was cheated, that caused Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign in disgrace. Notice how there are things that Democrats don't talk about. Deborah Wasserman Schultz resigning in disgrace, the actual DNC emails, the actual campaign emails. Oh, the fact that in one campaign email, really quickly, let's see, which one? In one of the campaign emails, oh yeah, DNC elevated Trump to help Clinton. That's right. That's right. This is the Observer. Excuse me. Michael Sonato, great journalist, Who published this? Oh, that's right, Assange. He only published the truth. Democrats expected the FBI investigation into Clinton email server to be a major problem, which Donald Trump solved. Okay. And so we go on to the actual campaign email, which was, oh, that's right, how Hillary Clinton campaign deliberately elevated Donald Trump. Oh, look, this is Salon by a wonderful journalist, Ben Norton, who's a big fan of my work, I believe. Not. But here, he's a good journalist. He is an excellent journalist. Well, let's see. Goals and strategy. Our hope is the goal of the potential HSC. Okay, so basically the email is a Pied Piper candidates. Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and Ben Carson. Make them more Pied Piper candidates who actually represent the mainstream of the Republican Party. Pied Piper candidates include Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, and Ben Carson. We need to be elevating the Pied Piper candidates so that they are leaders of the pack and tell the press to take them seriously. Wow. Why am I bringing this up? Why is this long preface? What's the point of this long preface? What's the point of all of this? Why are you listening to this? A combination of the history of H.A. Goodman and my views on important topics within sports, and because President Trump fought back again. And when you want a change in the system, when you want a change in foreign policy, you don't want any more foreign interventions. You don't want any more changes within regimes. Whether or not they're horrible or not is not relevant. The issue is you don't want the United States of America to be in never-ending quagmires that result in hundreds of thousands of traumatic brain injuries. Over 1 million injuries total, 1.2 million, something like that. Of the 2.5 million Americans, over 2.5 million who have served in Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, the PTSD, hundreds of thousands of cases, and then the hundreds of thousands of lives who've been altered forever for the worst because of our quote-unquote well-meaning interventions, whether it's Libya or Bush's quagmires that President Obama and Clinton and Biden continued. If you don't like that foreign policy, then you vote Trump. You don't vote Biden. You don't vote anyone else, and you certainly don't vote Madam Secretary, Madam Cyberhack, who's running again. Ladies and gentlemen, I expect, since I went out on a limb when I said Clinton would lose, and she lost. That's what the left, people who don't like me, if I ever got in a debate with them, I would ask them what their prediction was, because my prediction was Clinton would lose. And that's well documented, especially in my Huffington Post, Hill, and Salon articles. You can read them, and I state in every one of those articles that she would lose. And she lost. In 2015, I was stating that. I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not right about everything, fine. I'm not Nostradamus, well, whatever. I'm not, this divine, I'm just a human being, but I have the pulse of what's going on, and I'm telling you Hillary Clinton is running again, which means that she will win the nomination. You know who the nominee is going to be? Na 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 na. What is Madam Cyberhack, the Golden Moo-Moo? Who is, I should say. The 2020 nominee ain't gonna be the Botox cadaver, Biden. It's going to be Madam Secretary the wonderful, the amazing, the brilliant Hillary Clinton. The 2020 nominee for the Democratic Party is going to be Hillary Clinton. She just won a civil rights award the other day, or she's going to win a civil rights award in Atlanta. This is Hillary Clinton, who should not be winning any awards for anything, especially not civil rights. But whatever, I'm not going to get into it right now. Go ahead and look up the things that she's said and did. In terms of rhetoric and deed and action, she is far worse than President Trump on every major issue, including the issue of race and issues within society. Once she runs, we'll get into that. She will. And she'll become the 2020 nominee. Democrats are so insidious, they will elect twice or nominate twice a woman who referred to, and if you can believe this, Mahatma Gandhi, yes, Clinton did, the Golden Muumuu, Madam Cyberhack did, as a gas station attendant. That's in the New York Times. That's in the New York Times because she apologized for what she said. But she gets away with everything. And she's winning a civil rights award. Okay. Why do you think that's taking place? Because when she runs, it'll be a vindication of everything I've said, but it's actually going to be one of the best things that ever happened in U.S. history. Trump's going to defeat Clinton two elections in a row. It's going to be hilarious. I know I sound like a crazy person, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen. They ain't going to roll with anyone Look, read the Willie Brown op-ed in the San Francisco Chronicle. Here. Wait, go. Why am I even? It took me, 10, how many minutes? 12 minutes in. FBI Christopher Steele's fake story falls apart. False intel and media contacts were flagged before Vice of John Solomon The Hill. Donald Trump retweeted that just hours ago. Or tweeted that hours ago. He fights. That's the whole point. That's why I brought up. I thought Bernie Sanders was a fighter. He ain't no fighter. He's not a fighter. Can't be a fighter and a doormat at the same time. But here, President, we'll just, you know what? We'll get into. You know what's going to take place. But we'll get in. Hey, okay, fine. Willie Brown. Let me just real quick. Humor me. Just humor me, okay? Just humor me. Willie Brown, San Fran Chronicle. People say, for good God, man. Just. Oh, this is hilarious. They say, good God, man. Just look it up and nobody can beat Trump. Okay. Bad news for Democrats. None of these candidates can beat Trump. June 29th, 2019. Willie Brown, San Francisco Chronicle. He should know. Again, she's running and she's going to become the 2020 nominee. Hillary Clinton will. Now, if you're tired of me hearing this, consider this a public this is a public service announcement. Don't you want to be ready emotionally and psychologically for the wonderful and beautiful and amazing and talented Madam Cyberhack? Come on. Don't you want to be ready? I mean, what channel can you watch on YouTube that talks about the golden Cyberhack lady running again? Oh, yeah, it's bad news for Democrats. None of these candidates can beat Trump. Willie Brown, June 29, 2019. What is an 85-year-old man who happens to be a very important, one of the most influential Democrats within the Democratic Party? Why is he saying this? You mean the California senator that he knows quite well can't defeat Trump? You mean he doesn't think Elizabeth Warren can? Well, let's see what he says really quickly before we get to the Trump-Steele dossier. Oh, great. You've reached your monthly article limit. Okay. Subscribe now, and I'll just, reboot the computer. Anyway, he goes on to talk about Kamala Harris. He talks about Elizabeth Warren. He talks about Bernie Sanders. He talks about everyone and how they cannot defeat President Trump. He doesn't bring up Madam Cyberhack, but who do you think he's referring to? Who do you think? Okay, who is the candidate you think that he's kind of referencing without even stating the name? That's what the Clintons do. That's what media does. Anyway, Clinton's running again. And when it happens, you gotta just tell everyone right now. Tell everyone right now that Clinton's running. And H.A. Goodman has told you that. But here, FBI Christopher Steele, story falls apart, false intel and media contacts were flagged before FISA John Solomon. They already informed the FBI, Strzok, McCabe, and Comey, Strzok, and McCabe. Comey, McCabe, and Strzok. They already informed them. They had informed Comey, Strzok, and McCabe that it was unverified. The dossier was purchased by Clinton. Could have been biased. Christopher Steele was passionate and desperate to stop Trump. That's the Telegraph article. There's a Telegraph article that says, desperate and passionate to stop President Trump. If you are desperate and passionate to stop something from taking place, is that objective data? They use this term raw intelligence. Oh, his raw intelligence. This is not some kind of military endeavor where you're like, oh, the troop movements and there's something going on and we just see. It was raw intelligence, We were finding out things about, some kind of code. No, stop. Nothing about the 2016 election has anything to do with intelligence. Nothing. The whole thing is absurd. The ODNI and DHS reports, which I talk about in my Federalist articles, come with warranty disclaimers that state they're only confident the Russians hacked the DNC. They're not certain. And the Mueller report states categorically that the evidence was not sufficient to indict on any issue, from interfering to campaign finance to contacts. So when they interview Mueller, who might actually cancel and say, hey, you know what? Bill Barr helped me out. If William Barr helps Robert Mueller evade the Democratic Party's subpoena, oh my God, that'll be amazing. That'll be amazing. Because William Barr has stated, yeah, you know what? You don't really need to, if you don't want to go, Bob, you don't have to. The Justice Department will. So it should be hilarious because Democrats will be like, what? You're not going to. And Mueller's going to ask William Barr. Basically, the hilarious thing is the special counsel is going to ask the White House for protection from Democrats. If that actually. Because the thing is, it's really bad. Really bad for Mueller. Like, what's he going to do? What's he going to do? When he's asked like simple questions like, oh, did you know that Clinton purchased the Steele dossier? Oh, when did you find out that there was no interference in the election? Or sorry, that Trump didn't work with Putin. Was it before the midterms? Why didn't you inform the public? That's interesting. And we can go on forever. The bottom line, though, is that Rudy Giuliani insulted Comey, which is hilarious. I mean, absolutely hilarious. So, Rudy Giuliani insulted Comey on Fox News. And, which is just, I mean, they're taking the gloves off. You have John Durham and William Barr. I doubt, and I don't care how the Inspector General report is written. Probably going to be written in the most benign manner. But the bottom line is going to be the Steele dossier was used to deceive FISA judges. That's illegal. That is illegal. John Durham is finding the Inspector General report doesn't have to come out with any recommendation for indictment because the IG report, Michael Horowitz, can't indict anyone to begin with anyway. Now, the one person he did throw under the bus was Andrew McCabe, who's under criminal investigation now. If there's another issue about Andrew McCabe in the new IG report, which I think there will be, it's game, set, match. It's game over. McCabe and Baker will be the first two people indicted. So, and people say, "Oh, she hasn't been indicted yet." Well, she committed crimes. So did everyone around her, including the top FBI agents or officials. So I started this segment with things that you don't want to believe. When I was on the left, I kind of realized, I'm like, well, you know what? There's actually one person. When you think of punk music, you think of heavy metal, it's like Motorhead or the Ramones, just a whole bunch of great bands. What made them special? Well, they made some people angry. They made some people upset. Punk music, it made the establishment uneasy. Who do you think makes the establishment uneasy? Oh, that's right, Trump and Trump supporters. All 62 million plus. The left, the media is like, what makes a person a Trump supporter? It's like, no, actually, there are so many people who just zip it and don't say anything, who wish for the demise of the Democratic Party every single day. You know how many people? Enough people to win elections. And the only reason they won the House is because they had the Mueller probe going, even though Robert Mueller could have ended the probe a year prior. Give me your thoughts below. The bottom line is that Trump is fighting back. And people are going to get indicted based on the Steele dossier and other bizarre abnormalities in all of this. Give me your thoughts below. Please share my Jerusalem Post article below if you want to support my voice long term. My Patreon is below in the pinned comment. My article in the Federalist is below that Rush Limbaugh shared 2 days straight on his radio show. Very happy about that. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.